We were going through things like what happened in 2020 and stuff like that. I got excited. I was like, this is an opportunity that is either going to make us or break us. And like we saw, unfortunately, a lot of schools didn't make it, right?
Yeah.
And some of the schools called it quits as soon as they saw the big boss.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, big monster, I'm out, right? I was like, okay, you know what? This is the opportunity for us to break through to a new level. And we did. In 2020, we made more gross than we did all prior years. 2021, we did even bigger. 2020, we opened up a new school. And like in January 2021, we opened up another school, right? So we were winning during that time because we went and took on the big boss and said, we're going to come up on the other side. And that's how we leveled up.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Seven Figure Secrets podcast. My name is Jennifer Waters, and I am joined by my co-host, Tommy Siegler. This podcast is all about diving into behind the scenes secrets to success from seven-figure business owners. And I'm super pumped because we have our returning guests, Naomy and Alan DePena. Welcome back, guys. Happy to have you guys here.
Thank you so much. So we're super excited to be here again. And we just appreciate everything that you both have been doing in the industry, encouraging people to go to the next level and that they can just dedicate their lives to living out their passions. And like the work you do there it's incredible. So thank you. And thank you for having us. And if we can put any little token in this, you know, we're grateful.
Perfect.
We must be doing something right because we got them back again.
Yeah,
we never got anybody else to come back.
You didn't scare them off, Dad. So we actually met these guys a couple of years ago. They've been doing some incredible things with their school, Zentai Martial Arts, up in New Jersey, and lots of cool projects. We're going to dig into the things that they're doing. One of those things we kind of touched on last time, but I'm excited because we're going to be talking about the new release of their book based on their service dog, Lad, and the work that Lad did during the COVID-19 crisis. And recently, they also had a $250,000 month. Congrats on that.
Yeah.
That was huge.
Thank you.
So yeah, let's dig in. Dad, you ready?
Oh, I'm always ready. So let's get going before I have a laughing fit over here. Let Alan, this has got to be the why question here. Because you went from being in a totally different industry, IT industry, for like 15 years, making mega bucks and working with these big giant companies and stuff, to stepping down. What probably for you was think about stepping away and up. But most people would think, oh, you're giving up that to come do this? Yeah. Why? What is the why? Why did you make the leap? Y'all make the leap and do this. This is insane in the American industries, which we see.
You know, that's a good question. It was definitely, there were some fears in there. Definitely a lot of my family asking why and what the heck are you thinking? But even more so, probably her family asking what the heck is he thinking? But we started off this has been our lifelong passion of helping people, particularly the youth, kids, but everybody, adults, and everybody. It's just what we have done all our lives prior to this through ministry and the work we did there. So this was just another avenue that we saw that was super powerful, that we can do that. So we knew this is what we were passionate about. At first, I wasn't thinking of leaving everything. It was just like, hey, we can do this on the side. But, you know, the way you do anything is the way you do everything. So when we went in 100%, and it grew faster than we even anticipated, and really had to dive, full in. And eventually it took us to the turning point of having to make that decision of leaving one and going for the other. So it was a step down, and you said at the time it was a step down, and there was no hopes of it being a step up. We didn't think, I'm going to leave this, but eventually I'm going to make more money. We never thought about that, right? It was always, I'm going to leave this, the finances, the numbers here, and all this job and security to do something that we are passionate about, and it's helping people. That's what it was always about. We were willing to give that all up. Right. Mm-hmm. I think when we did, something magical happened where then it grew and that all came. But we didn't. That wasn't the focus. We didn't care about that.
Yeah. Wow.
Now, Naomy, I'm sure you were used to sacrificing. We talked about this a little bit before. You grew up as a missionary kid in the Dominican Republic, and then went on to become a special educator, and then hopped into this thing with Alan co-owning it. And since then, you've gone on to do like some crazy stuff. Like I mean, I think crazy, like elected to council, deputy mayor in Belleville. Like there's a lot of life transitioning going on in your life. So,
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that. Like, what was that like when Alan was making that transition? You guys as a family were making that transition, and then all these other things that led you to deputy mayor.
Yes, for sure. So as you mentioned, I'm the daughter of missionaries. I grew up serving people. That is all I knew, right? It was my parents leaving what I call they did the reverse American dream, right? They came, they left a third country, came to the United States, and then realized people need me. I'm going back. And they went back. And this is what I grew up with those values of hard work and serving people in whatever capacity you can, which is what led me to becoming a special needs teacher. And being able to run for office really came out of that need. People identify your leadership. I did not set out to become a politician. I did not set out to become to be in public service. But one thing I understand is that people have this mindset that politicians are bad people, right? And they're all crooked and this is all what they do. However, if good people continue to hear that they're all bad people in government, there's something good people are never going to run. And I sat with that question, right? I reached out to my parents and the people in my council, and everyone said, God is calling you to do this, just do it. Do it. And I was so clear in my core values and my calling to serve people in whatever platform I had. So I realized I had an even more, a greater opportunity to serve. So I said yes, and I ran, and I became the first Latina elected to council. And this was relevant because I'm serving in a town that has 45% Latino. So almost half of the people, and to not have anyone that speaks your language, that looks like you, and only the second woman out of 7 people. So, I can run on that platform, but I take it with pride. And I also take it as a huge responsibility to represent. So I do believe that there's a lot of martial artists that are already serving in their communities, and maybe they are having like, oh, maybe I should do more, maybe I should run. I say we need to put good people in places of power so they could do what good people do. And that's really what it is. Say yes and hold on to your values, because really what this does is amplifies who you are. Ultimately, my values remain the same. I am now serving my 2nd term, and I love what I do, and I love that I get to serve people in all different platforms that I have. So, yeah. So, yeah, you asked about the transition. So the transition with Alan, right? It was we have to do one or the other. I mean, how do we run the school? How do I serve in council? And we're raising 2 children at that time at the same time. So, it really was a big decision. I love the fact that we were able to make that together as a team and to decide, this is what we need in this season. So by him leaving his job in New York, I was able to run for council, and thankfully I won. And thankfully God supported that. But, we took our time to ask people around us in our inner circle and a lot of prayer. And we felt at peace. We felt that this was the right step, and that's why we did it. So.
Wow. That's amazing. That is really good. Let's change gears a little bit to the school. Excuse me. Tell us why you think it's so important for reaching new levels of success for your business. And you guys have just hit a $250,000 month.
It's a big month.
I know it's not about the money, but it is about the money in certain terms, because you always want to, if you don't have enough money to provide for you and your family, then you can't do other things. And y'all are just knocking it out of the park. So what keeps you going? How you keep reaching these new levels? Because people want to know. I want to know.
Well, and as you said, it's not about the money, but the money is just a resource, right? That you get to do it, and it's a key performance indicator for sure of how you're doing and how you're growing in the direction that that you're going. But it also allows you to do really cool things, right? So someone once said that if you think money is bad, you just haven't given enough of it away, right? Dave Ramsey says the best thing to ever do with money is give it away, right? That's the most fun. The most fun you'll ever have is giving it away with money. So I think it is a very powerful indicator of how's it going. I also believe that if you're not growing, you're dying. So if people hit a certain level and they're like, well, I'm good here, you're never really just good here. You're either going to continue going up or you're going to continue going down. You just may not see it yet, right? Yeah. You may be having a leak in the back end somewhere, and eventually you're going to go down. You're going to say, oh, what happened? I didn't see that coming. I thought I was stable. So you always have to be growing. But most importantly, going back to the why, is just the passion that we have for what we're doing anyway. And what we want to do is more of that. And that has increased. Where we first thought, hey, we can make a difference in these kids' lives. And I'm on the mat helping these kids change lives. And, parents are calling me. You guys probably got those calls too, late hours. Oh, my kid's acting up, talk to him. And, put past the phone. And you're like, wow, I can really help out this family. I mean, I made home visits, right? Like I had kids going crazy at home and parents call me and it's like, I'm on my way. I'm driving in my car. I drive there, go to the house. Straight. Yeah. That powerful resource that you're giving these parents to have, that's awesome, right? So from there it grew and we started delegating out. Then we have instructors. Now we're pouring into the lives of those instructors, right? So it's not only that the kids, we're leading them to be able to impact the other kids and lead other people, other adults and other families. So that just spread out. And then it's different locations and we're doing it that way. Now, and we'll speak about this more later, we're doing this in a third world country where we're helping people. And we're only able to do that because of the $250,000 months, like over $250,000 that we had last month. Right? We're only able to do that because of that. Otherwise, we couldn't. If I still had my job in New York, although I was very comfortable and I had a very secure job and I could pay all my bills, and I said, well, why have anything else? Well, I wouldn't be able to launch, and it's a beautiful school. We'll talk about that in a minute, that we're launching in the Dominican Republic at no cost to anyone there. We would not be able to do that if it wasn't for that coming in. I think when the money just promotes more who you already are and what you are already doing. And if you're a good person and you're passionate about that, I think people see that and they invest in you. And I think that's why people come to us. And then you continue doing more of those good things and having that good impact. So continue growing, continue going that. But that's not like the main number that I'm looking at. I'm looking at how much impact can we have in our communities? How many lives can we change? That's what I'm looking at. And I'm very well aware that the financial resources coming in is what's going to allow me to do that, but that's not the goal. So my main goal is not to do that. Although we do have sub goals. Yeah, we want to have better months every month, but only because that helps us do these more important things.
Yeah. And one thing that I want to add, I appreciate so much Alan admire is that he's always looking for a win-win opportunity for our team. And he's been that way ever since he was in Wall Street. It's always been about what are your dreams and how can I help you achieve them for our team. So this isn't like, hey, we're making this money and we're keeping it all. Like we are rising by lifting others. We're creating opportunities. I'm very passionate about helping women who are mothers be able to have careers because I know what it was like to feel like my kid's sick and I go and I have to call out and just that guilt of I can't call out. But I love having the opportunity where, hey, you can do this and you can have it all. Just maybe not everything at once, but you can be a mother and you can have a career. And that's something that we live by, So I do believe that God rewards that. We reward our team. We make we have the resources to also be able to create careers for others. And that makes me, I say it's the side effect of owning a business that I didn't know I was going to enjoy this much. This is like the one thing I enjoy the most.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And I know that, giving back is a huge part of y'all's attitude, your overall character, those types of things. Obviously, it's a part of your faith journey as well, being able to dig in. One of the unique started talking to you guys. When we first started talking to you guys, you had the service dog, Lad. Yes. And I was like, what? How does this connect to martial arts? And that was the whole point. It doesn't. It connects to your mission, which is to help people. Yes. So talk about Lad, what you guys did. And I just think it's so cool. Like, because now you're making a kid's book out of this, right?
Yeah.
Yes, for sure. I think one thing I've learned after 20 years of marriage with Alan is that, when people think outside the box, Alan he doesn't even know that there is a box, right? It's like, what box are we talking about? Like, he's always lived by his own rules. And I think that those are the things. So when he says, I live by certainty, and I think that's where we both really give each other that grounding, and we really support each other. So when he came up with this idea, he says, how can we continue to serve families? As I mentioned before, me being a special needs teacher, we were already serving a lot of children with special needs, and just really, how do we go to the next level? How do we provide them even more? Not just for the children with special needs, but when we found this opportunity through this organization, we were matched with Lad, and we brought him home literally a month before the world shut down. So we graduated and we were on a waiting list for 2 years. And for things to align that way, that we got him precisely on Valentine's Day 2020. So all of a sudden now, the world as we know it changes very quickly, and the children were the ones suffering, especially their mental health. So when they were, parents are calling us and saying, my kid's suffering from anxiety and depression. And one thing we knew, we didn't know much, but we knew at that moment that animals could not transmit COVID. So what we did is we put Lad on a 50-foot leash, and we had him dropping off goodie bags to the children and showing up at the houses. I mean, he is a service-trained dog. He knows more than 50 different commands. But should we call him up?
He's
laying down right here, right now. Lad, here. He was sleeping right next door. So Lad was able to visit with the kids, and just with the goodie bags in his mouth, and just seeing how that changed the children's faces. I mean, it was incredible. We were doing read alouds on Zoom for the children. And now then we found out children in other countries are listening to Lad. So, but what I think is so powerful about Lad's story is that it's one of redemption, because Lad almost didn't make it as a service dog because he wouldn't wear his vest. So obviously, in order for you to be a service dog, you have to wear your vest. So this is a social emotional book where we are helping children go through the emotions that Lad went through. And it's an interactive book. So it's something you can use in your martial arts school, but it's something that parents can read right before bedtime. And I think it's questions that we should be asking ourselves also in terms of helping. So this book is in the works. We are working now with Illustrator, and hopefully within a few months it will be out. And we're so excited.
Man, I'm so happy and proud of you guys for doing that. That is so cool.
Thank you.
Really awesome.
Yeah, it is. If I was putting together a mind map right now, there would be so many different things going out from the center of that map with you two. Do y'all ever slow down?
It is and it isn't, like that mind map, because there is a core mission to what we're doing.
Yes.
And it revolves around helping others. Like Naomi said before, we rise by lifting others, right? So everything is around that community base and helping other people. And I think sometimes we get in a box of how we're going to help other people.
Yes.
And we say, well, I'm going to help other people by teaching martial arts on the mats. This is what I'm doing. And then it's locked in, right? And then something like, 2020 happens, and now you can't do that. And they're like, well, I guess I'm just going to go home.
Yeah.
But when the purpose is bigger than that, and it's like, my purpose is to help people. I'm helping however I can.
Inspire
and
communities.
Teaching martial arts classes is just one of the ways I do that, right? When that goes away, I'm still doing what I do, which is help people. So I'm just going to find a different way to do it. Okay, that tool's not working. The hammer's not working for me on this one. I need a screwdriver for this. I need to switch. I need a saw for this. So it looks like many different things, but it's all the same purpose and the same principle. And I think that is one of the most important things. I think we create all these sets of rules. We create all these systems in order to help people, but then we get trapped by the system and we forget about the people. Yeah. And I think it's important to remember people are more important than the programs that we're doing. So, we see this a lot in the traditional martial arts, right? Like, we created these traditional martial arts. This is the way it is because this was awesome. And then we become a slave to that. We become entrapped to that, right? And it's like, wait, we forgot the principle, which was, to help us defend ourselves or to help people or whatever, or to continue growing. So we need to come back to that. And if you keep that at the center of that mind map, then it all is linked and it's all connected.
For sure. And our vision here at Zentai is to inspire communities to live a life of growth and contribution. And what I tell my team, it's like pouring into a cup. if you never stop pouring water into it, eventually it's going to overflow. But you get to decide what you want to put in. So the more you grow, whether it is, your mindset, whether it is your spiritual faith, your skills, eventually it just overflows, and it overflows in many different directions for us. But ultimately, as we continue to inspire communities to live a life of growth and contribution, whatever tool we use, it's up for grabs. And my thought is that I want to reach the end of my life thinking that God is just going to say to me, like, whoa, you left nothing on the table. You really took advantage of that life I gave you. Like, you used every single talent. And that's exactly how we live. Like, which one is it going to be now? We'll follow through. Obviously, with, you have a plan. You know what you're strong at. Like, I'm not attempting things I'm not good at. And if I'm not good at it, then I hire people to do it, right? But you still have the dream, you still have the vision, and you move forward.
It's interesting that you said about the the contribution part. And Tommy, earlier you said, and I wanted to jump in, but you had said, how does it feel like to give back or something like that? I don't look at what we do and the projects that we've done as giving back. Even if we're, we're investing in a third world. We fed these kids, gave them water and meals, right? I don't look at that as giving back. Everything we do is giving. Yeah. This is what we do, whether something comes back or not, right? In our martial arts school, even if it's a tuition base, we're trying to give. We're trying to add value to other people, right? Yes. And I think when you become someone of value that provides value to people, then the value follows you, yes. right? And I think you get rewarded for that. One of the things I told my team about was someone that we can all look at like a Mother Teresa, right? It's like, okay, everybody acknowledged, okay, good person, lived amongst the poor and helped everybody. And she, when she passed away, she had a multi-million-dollar net worth. Yeah. And everybody's like, whoa, like she would...
Thought she was by herself, right?
They didn't think that because you think of her just being poor. And I don't think she was after being a multimillionaire. But what she was after, it was adding value to others. It's like, I'm going to give value. And when you give value, you become a valuable person. That just is a reality of life, right? Anything that you have, if you have a dollar bill or you have $100 bill, it gives more value, so it's worth more, right? So I think, everything we do is to give, to add value to others, to contribute, us continue growing ourselves and giving to others. Then how we do that is going to change. Some people can afford to maybe give back to us value. Other people can't, and that's okay. That's not going to make a difference, right? We're still going to add value to even the least of these.
Yeah, John Maxwell says you have to add value to yourself, and then you can add value to others. And you're doing that simply by what we do also. We have a big school and stuff like that.
We love John Maxwell. We're certified John Maxwell speakers as well. So we do love his work.
Yeah. So if I had my hat, I would put my hat on, because now we got to talk about farm life.
We need to get some tips from you, because this is all new for us.
Hey, look. We got a farm we live on out here, but there ain't nothing else here yet.
We're still working on it.
She's got 5 pigs.
Okay.
And five dogs, and we got a cat.
Okay, well, I'm winning so far. I mean, for a suburban girl coming in, so I think we're winning. You can see our space here is slightly different from where we did our previous podcast, because we are at the farm right now. Yes,
very cool.
So we have, so far as we have 3 new goats that we just got a few weeks ago. So we're learning the goat.
Don't turn your back on those goats. They'll butt you right when you're in.
I was going to train one of the goats to just ram people, because if you have a dog and it bites someone, you're going to get sued. But if you're walking a goat and he just knocks them over, just topple them, just don't hurt them, just knock them over. Give them a good push.
But so we have the 3 goats. We have 2 ladder service dog. We have a rescue, and then we also have 3 barn cats that we're learning now.
And 2 house cats.
And then 2 house cats. So our animals are growing. But what we have is an 18-acre lavender farm. I'll tell you quickly about this. So for a very long time, as Alan mentioned before, right, we did a lot of pouring into our team, and we started doing like day retreats, and growing up in church, I know the power. We knew the power of retreats, of removing yourself from your day to day, taking intentional time to just really grow. And I would say, oh, wouldn't it be awesome if we had a place where we could just do this? And we start renting Airbnbs. And I'm like, I could do this. Oh, and I had this ongoing list on my phone. It should have this. I would love it for have this. And I would pray about this. And I started lovingly calling it the Zen Den, because Zentai and just the space of Zen, of being in a place where you can disconnect and then reconnect. And one night I was looking for a place, just thinking about my parents and, maybe moving in with them or whatever. And then this place.
Gentlemen, don't let your wives surf the internet at night. It's very morning.
So I, we live in an area that is, we're like 10 miles away from New York City, so real estate is very expensive in that area in New Jersey where we are. So then I put in 20 miles away, and this place came up, and I saw the price, and I saw the acre, just 18-acre lavender farm. So I said, Alan, for my birthday, let's just go look at it. I just want to look at it. I just want to dream. I just want to dream. And, we came in, and we did not think that we were going to fall in love the way we did. It just felt right. And I have to give so much credit to my husband, because this wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for him, because purchasing a farm in New Jersey is not a small feat. Like, it really was challenging, but I do believe God knows the purpose, what we wanted this for. This was, we were serving urban kids, and to be able to bring them, like, these are kids that have never even been in the woods, they've never even seen, and to bring them here and remove them from that space, the first thing we did was bring our team, and they were just so excited. And it's just, there's such a peace that you can create in this space, and then the animals and all of it. So, long story short, we now own an 18-acre lavender farm. I love lavender as well. The field is just absolutely stunning, and we have this massive barn that we are turning into our big training facility. So we are excited not only to provide this for our team, to our students, but also to other martial arts schools in the area that would like to start having these retreats, because we see the acceleration in the growth with the team. I mean, it's really, you can have team meetings and you could drag them, but when you bring them in for 3 days, and this is what we're doing, mindset and personal growth and breaking bread together, it just changes the atmosphere of your team for sure. So that's the Zen Den for you.
I love that idea.
Powerful.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I love it. We haven't done a whole lot of development here on the farm, but similar situation, Alan. I started browsing around on the internet because I was that's what happened. And I was like, we actually moved the end of 2019, right before, COVID and everything happened. And we had done some moving around. I'd lived in we used to live in about 2.5 acres in South Carolina before moving into Georgia. And then, I kind of missed the woods, from growing up and being a kid. And with Beckett being a kid, I was like, he doesn't know what the woods are like. He doesn't know, what the big outdoors is like. And just as he was growing up, I was like, man, I really want him to be able to just walk outside and me not have to worry about him, like, walking outside. Right. And so, we found the farm, and Dad was like, oh, this is not going to work out right away. Remember, Dad? We were like, it's not going to work out. And I was like, but you don't see it. Like, I see it. I think that's kind of maybe the same thing, Naomi, like you saw it, right? Like
100%.
And so that's so cool. And the fact that it's lavender as well, it goes with that whole Zen feeling. I'm sure it smells good almost all the time. Right?
It's
Divine. Truly divine. Yes.
Yeah. So you guys just recently came back from the Dominican Republic as well. I saw some of the videos on Facebook. Talk about that nonprofit. Like, what are you guys doing with all of that?
Yeah. So, it's our 5th location now, right? In the Dominican Republic. This one, of course, with the, goal of being a nonprofit for the children there. We visited the Dominican Republic. We've done work there in the past. Naomi has led missionary trips there in the past. So we're familiar with the need. So we said, hey, we want to do something where we can really help out. So we saw how empowering this is to children here. We know that not everyone can afford to make that kind of investment that the students do here. how can we provide this to other people? So we decided to do it there. One of the, I think, mental shifts for us was, if I could share with you a quick story, we were going around with a young girl that lives in has less resources, let's say, than we do. And we were visiting some family that had a beautiful house, multi-million-dollar house in the Dominican Republic. And when she saw the house, she said some words that were very shocking to or impacted us a lot. She said, wow, I never knew that places like this existed. And it wasn't like, oh, I had never seen a place like this. It's like, I didn't know that this existed. And we connected that to something our son had once told us, which was just like one of those random facts. They says, oh, do you know that you can't dream of a face that you've never seen before? You've probably seen the person on TV, or you've seen the person walking down the street or whatever, but you can't like make up something. You have to have seen it, and then you can dream about it. So I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah, but right away,
we
I was like, I feel like that's a lesson right there. Right? Like that's a lesson.
You can't dream of something that you can't see. So these kids can't say, oh, I want to be this, if they don't even know that that's possible, right? That even exists. So, that's where we said, okay, if we're going to do this, we're going to do this right, and we're going to go all out. We're not going to do some little thing in a park somewhere, something like that. We're going to find like the best facility that we can find. We're going to like mat it out and put it just like it was any other $1 million dojo that you're building, but it's going to be for these kids. And that's what we started. So we found a beautiful location, floor to ceiling windows, where it's no pillar. It's just a perfect location. But we were taking these leaps of faith. And I think sometimes, God calls us to do certain things and you don't know how it's going to be done, but you need to take that step and really go all in. And like, you're kind of like taking this step out into the dark and you're like, is there a floor there? I don't know where I'm going to step right now. And then God provides because you took that step. So
that's right.
It was an amazing opportunity because we were like, who's going to teach?
Yeah.
What's going to happen there? And then, it's interesting because in that area, Naomi, as we mentioned before, was a daughter of missionaries, had worked there with her dad. I'll let you share a little bit about that part.
So 35 years ago, my parents founded this program. And I remember being a 7-year-old, like I was young with my father, finding this community where people lived right next to the garbage dump. And meeting this family and my parents bringing them into the program, moving them into the house, helping them build a house, even working with the government to clear out that area from all that garbage. So when I reached out recently to my dad, I said, we want to open a school at Zentai in DR, but I have no idea, like, who teaches? Like, how do we make this work? Can you find out what there is out there? So he found one of the girls that graduated from this program. She's now a lawyer. And she says, well, my brother is a martial arts instructor. Wow. And so when it comes to find out, he grew up next to me. He grew up in the house where we housed all the boys. It was a home for boys. So his entire life he's been doing martial arts. I had no idea. He was already teaching children for free. So we reconnect. It just truly is, it was God appointed. I mean, there is no doubt. The way I see it is we are literally just God's project managers. This is his vision. It comes from his heart. And we're just making this happen because the location we found, it's right across the street from the school my parents founded. So you can't even make this up. I truly believe in the purpose and what we're doing, that there's just a higher power really leading all of this. So to the point of Alan, what he was saying, these children are coming from very poor communities. They don't have the basics. They don't have food. So how can we then say, whoa, come do martial arts, right? But the idea is exposure to the values. It's a leadership and martial arts school. So we're providing them with the skill, we're providing them with the exposure, and we're providing them with the opportunity to see that you can choose to have a good job. You can choose to do the things right and come out of poverty. You do not have to do bad things in order to become better. So that's our goal through that. And we're so excited to be able to partner with other martial arts schools to make this happen as well. I don't want to
we already started partnering with some schools. It's really cool because, we started off, obviously, in our school, we have parents who are sponsoring children. And it's a really simple program. We have each kid, it's about our cost that we're allocating for them is about $40 per month. So someone can do a half sponsorship of $20 a month or do the $40 a month. And that sponsors a child, everything for that child. But what we started doing is taking a step further and partnering with martial arts schools. And it's really like MPAMA is one of the schools that are partnering with us. So we'll have the uniforms with the school logo over there on the back, but on the front patch, it'll have the school that is sponsoring them.
Oh, cool.
Like Master Peter's Academy, they are, if 10 parents, they sponsor 10 kids, all 10 of those kids will have their patch on their shirt, and their parents will get like a photo. It's attached to their child, so they get to see their progress as they go ranking up, earning belts, different achievements. They get to see that. We'll take a picture of all those 10 students together wearing their thing. They can hang it up at their school, and just schools that would love to do this, because a lot of people have, immediately when we started doing this, a lot of school owners, we're all passionate about helping kids and helping other people, right? So we're like, that's awesome. I want to do something like that. Well, you can start right now. You can start right away by just partnering with what we're already doing. You sponsor, your school gets to be represented there, and do that. And you get to show your parents, hey, this is what our school is doing. We're helping these kids, and you get to, show them those pictures. But more than that, I love that Dominican Republic is not so far away, and it happens to be a big vacation destination place. So some people love going there anyway. But what we're doing is encouraging schools to take their leadership team over there, so they can take their, like, let's say your black belts or your leaders in training and stuff like that. Do a trip over there, or even just the instructor. Do a trip over there, take photos with the kids, see the kids, teach martial arts classes. And it could be a boxing class to a kung fu class, a taekwondo class. These kids are just happy to learn, right? So we can have these instructors go with their team and spend a week living with those kids, teaching those kids martial arts. But also we're planning trips where, you know what, you get to get a little dirty and walk down to the river and see how these people live, right? One of the things I said when I saw that, I was like, oh my God. Like I told Naomi when we were walking there, I said, our chicken coop is nicer than some of these homes. And that just broke my heart. And I think people need to see that, right? Especially our kids, our young kids need to see that. So if we could take our leadership team, these schools, and go there, teach these martial arts classes, but also see how they live, I think it's going to change their hearts back here and be grateful for what they have. So that's how we're working this whole thing, really partnering with schools to do it, so that all the schools can have their mini school in the Dominican Republic and kind of promote that. So it's really, really exciting. Just launching.
Part of Zentai.org, and hopefully we can put this at the end. So you can get more information at heartofzentai.org. And, we would love to host your team. You'll get a lot of information about your child's journey as well. You'll get pictures from them. We just brought more than 100 backpacks full of school supplies to the children. So a lot of the sponsors sent specific bags to their students. And the kids were just so happy.
God, people were in tears because, they got to send a bag and we delivered it to your child who you know. Some people pick like similar names, like, oh, this child has my same name, so I'm going to find, so it's kind of cool. And then we recorded a video of them, thanking them. And like, the people back home here were just like in tears, like, oh my God, because it's so real, it's so connected. And that's what we love about this, right? That it's not something so remote, but like you get to be connected with these kids. We're doing trips out there. You get a trip out there and like really connect with these people. And that just makes it awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that, I think the fact that you guys are able to really connect people to the fact that it's not just like, okay, I'm just donating to this organization, or whatever. Like, I donate to organizations and things, and yeah, they give me updates, but to actually be able to go, whoa, what I contributed actually made a difference in Jose's life. Like wow, like that's so huge, so powerful. I definitely
and your parents to be able to do that, right? Because now when your parents are, and there's different ways to do it, because sometimes schools sponsor, right? So it's like, hey, a portion of your tuition is going to this. So your parents now feel good. And that's going to also help your attrition, right? Your retention. So it's going to, because parents are going to be like, hey, I'm paying this tuition here, but me paying this tuition is also helping this other kid train, and parents feel good about that, and they like that, what you're doing. So your school's doing that, but also your parents can sponsor directly, and they can say, hey, I'm paying my tuition, but you know what, I can put $20 towards this and help sponsor this, this kid, and now they're attached to that. So it's just make a awesome, feel good environment of your school giving back in that area. So
and it's all nonprofit, so this is all also a tax deduction.
501c3 and everything. So Yeah.
Fantastic. I love this
So,
idea. We're going to talk
yeah.
more about this idea with you
Yeah.
guys.
Yes, we love that.
Yeah.
So let's talk organization. I was
Yes.
going to say let's talk team, but let's talk organization, because you got three things going on here. You got to have the brains to run a business. It's obvious
Yes.
y'all do have the brains to do that, and all these projects you have going on. You have to have a strong team. You have to have the right team, and you have to be able to build that team. How did you do it? I asked you why earlier. Now, how did you do it?
How did you do it?
Slowly, one day at a time.
You want to jump in, or you want me to take that one?
Well, I mean, I'll just share that I learned from some of my leaders and my coaches. It empowered me to start hiring people. Alan and I both came from worlds where we're comfortable delegating. I think a lot of people have, you start as a one-man show. Me growing up in church and missions, and I was used to delegating, and him in the same way overseeing teams. But one of the things I learned was just, to hire slowly and fire quickly. And I think that made a big difference. But in the beginning, we were running this show by ourselves. I mean, it was also mothering 2 children and a dog, and you do start in a place where you are making sales and cleaning toilets within the same breath, right? So it doesn't happen overnight. But we got to a point where we say, okay, we've grown very quickly. We now have to sit down and do a full, what we call brain dump. And we did a full brain dump and decided, okay, what are all the things we do daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly? And we started assigning positions to that, right? Like if we could create all the positions in the world, like if budget wasn't a thing for payroll, how many positions do we have? And we realized we had like 15 different positions. Like we
was
both
like the biggest
did
shock
so much.
for
We're
us.
like, no wonder we're overwhelmed. Okay, I get it. So we started there, right? People might look at us and be like, oh, they have the money to hire all the people. We didn't at that moment. Matter of fact, we're still volunteers in our own organization. You know what I mean? But given, you know what that means, right, Tommy? So with that, we were able to then prioritize, okay, which one of these things is more urgent? What position do we have to hire right now? So we started writing the step-by-steps of that position. What are my expectations? If I wanted somebody to do it 100%, what's my script? What do I say? How do I breathe? Writing it all out, because you can't hire someone unless you've developed a system. You have to have a system. You have to understand, well, what am I willing to take as the least common denominator? Like one of Alan's mentors said something to me one time, and I said, wow, this is so powerful. He said, you can do everything at 100%, but you're only one person. Or you can just adjust and say, okay, it's going to be 80%. But if you hire 10 people to do it at 80%, you have a greater reach than if you were only doing it. So I think that empowered me to then move forward in that process.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's what's so powerful about what you guys do. And like, not like to, blow smoke like to you, to you guys, but like you guys are awesome because you guys have been so successful and have decided to take a lot of like your systems of what you do and provide that to others, which just helps fast forward people at such a rapid pace. And that's really the power in that, because it does take a lot of work. It does take a lot of retreats. We had to separate ourselves and like make a conscious decision to like, okay, we're going to go somewhere else and really hone in on this. And it was a lot more work than we thought. Like when we first went that first, we spent the whole time just writing a list. We're like, okay, we're going to write some systems. So let's just first write a quick list of what it is that we're doing so we can write the systems. Yeah. It ended up being a couple of days of just writing the things that we did. And it was like, oh my God, we have like pages and pages of little, when you break it down into small jobs, all the little things that we do. So it is a lot of work, and working with someone like you guys helps people just propel so much quicker. And even things that they didn't think about that maybe they're doing, that they didn't know that they were doing, or things that they should be doing that they're not doing. And then giving them the systems for that so they can A, start getting it done, or B, start finding who can do it. Right. So I think that's really powerful. But I think our biggest thing, like Naomi said before, was being comfortable with delegating. Right. Getting, we were comfortable with that from the beginning. I think that's one of the biggest hurdles for a lot of people. They're afraid that things are going to, everything's going to light on fire. I think Tony Robbins would say he owns like, I don't know, like 100 businesses. I don't know. So many. Yeah. What are the chances that someone in one of these businesses right now is screwing something up? And it's like 100%.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hundreds and hundreds or thousands or whatever of employees, someone is screwing something up, right? And that's okay. You have to be okay with that, and let that go, because that's the only way you're going to be able to grow. I think that's the first step. And then, having those systems for them, so you give them the best chances, that you set them up for success, that you're not just saying, hey, try to figure it out, but you're setting them up for success by giving them those systems. And then 3, providing them that coaching, just like you do for your students, right? You're teaching them, you're showing them, go out, do this kick, try to do this thing. You're coaching your kid to go to a tournament. You can't do the tournament for them, right? You have to let them, and sometimes they're going to fail, and that's okay. And if they fail, you're going to say it's okay, and you're going to coach them on how they can do it better. But somehow, if it's like the business, we don't do that, right? We're like, how could you fail? How could you do it? Well, it's the same thing, right? It's, hey, sometimes you're going to fail, sometimes you're going to succeed, and it's okay. I'm going to coach you, and we're going to go back and at it again and do better next time.
Yes,
Exactly.
Yeah.
One of the
on the day-to-day, we do a lot of checking in with our team, right? So I know Alan has Zoom meetings with the team in the mornings with the instructor team, because right now he hasn't been on the floor for a very long time. He's not actually teaching, but we're focusing on the actual coaching of the team. We have our weekly meetings with the team. You have to sit down, especially when you now have this level. I mean, we have 40 employees throughout the year, and when we have our summer camps, then we double and triple those numbers. So you have to have those weekly meetings and take advantage of Zoom. Like we lost the fear. Sometimes we take it. Actually, today we're taking it from here, so it's okay. We have those one-on-one meetings. We check in with them, and then our team then has their daily mindset meeting with their team. So you pour into, and it comes from the top, right? I probably won't even know all my staff. But one of the things I also focused on developing was a very strong onboarding process with culture training. You have to, from the beginning, give them the core values. And like Alan said, right, they are going to mess up, but these are the non-negotiables. Don't mess up here, right? This is what you can, but this is where you never do, or that's like, it's not going to be a good fit. And that's important, because sometimes we don't know what it is that we are unwilling to compromise on. You have to figure that out by identifying your mission, your vision, and your core values. But one powerful thing we have is also anti-values. Right? The example I give is, sometimes you ask a woman, like, what do you want to eat? And I was like, whatever. But then you say, well, Chinese, no, I don't want to eat that. So you know what you don't want, but you don't know what you want. So we've developed core values and core anti-values, so that
I like that.
Then you really know what I'm not 100%. We will never want to see here at Zentai. And I think that helps the team, because they're able to make decisions quickly. They're able to think the way we would think, just by going back to the core values.
Yeah. While you guys were talking about letting go in order to grow, and I think that that's a beautiful concept, and something that, man, we try to talk to our clients about inside of Seven Figure Dojo. Like, you got to trust the process and let go. I think for me, I had a beautiful picture of that when we adopted our son Beckett in China. We were in China, we were in the hotel room, and he had this little snack container. And, dealing with kids, and you guys, I'm sure you're, doing that as well. When kids have insecurity around food, they hold on tightly to any sense of food that they have. And Beckett was only 3.5. So, they took very great care of him in the orphanage, but it still was an orphanage. It was a facility. And so you could tell he had concerns around food. So he had an empty snack container that he would not let go of, even though I had a full snack container. I was like, come on, Of course, he didn't know the language. He didn't know anything at the time. But I'm like, buddy, I want to give you this snack container, but you got to let go
That one.
And, there was a moment where he just had that trust to just set it down to pick up the new one. And I think that for a lot of people, maybe the reason why they don't let go is because they don't trust their teams, or maybe they don't even trust themselves to be able to manage that, right? So when you guys are thinking, maybe there's a school owner right now, and they're getting to the point where, okay, I've got 100 students. I want to go to the next level, but that means hiring people. That means building systems. If you just had maybe 2 or 3 things that you could just quickly say to that school owner that might be listening, what should they do to get to that next level where they could have greater impacts?
Yeah. I think it's one of the things I would say is to focus on the students, right? Think about the students rather than thinking about you winning or losing, or am I gonna look bad? Is this, I have this pride around maybe the quality of student, or how this needs to be done, and how this perfect, everything needs to be perfect this way, because I'm holding on to that sense of pride that I have. But I think when you start focusing on the actual students and the lives that you're impacting, like through that, and you're saying, I want to be able to reach another 10 students, another 100 students, you start thinking that way, and that becomes more the focus rather than about you and how good of I don't mean to diminish, to water down your product, right? I think we need to keep that at a high standard. But if that is the most important thing, well, then impacting more people isn't, right? And I think you need to figure out which one's higher. And if you want to say, hey, well, the most important thing is the quality of student, right? Fine. You maybe just take on one student, go get another job, right? You take one student and just like disciple them, right? Like we're just going to train you and me. And you know what? I guarantee that student's going to be the best student, right? That's the way to have the best student. Just get one. And it's going to win everything. Just train them. But if you want to impact more people, then you need to figure out how to, not everyone's going to do it perfect. Not everyone's going to do it. But you know what? I'm focusing on the lives that I'm changing, on the people that I'm impacting. So start thinking about that instead of thinking about you and what's the perception. Oh, well, what's my previous instructor going to think? Or what are some of my peers going to think about if I do? No, do what you need to do to add the most amount of value to those students that are relying on you, and those students who are not yet relying on you, who don't know that this is even an opportunity, and you want to reach some of those. If you start focusing on that, I think everything is going to change.
Yeah, and from a different perspective, something we were talking about this morning was that I think a lot of times we think it's about the business system and the business tip that it's going to change it all, and it's really about mindset. It really is invest in yourself, heal, do the work that, I didn't grow up in the martial arts industry. I still consider myself an outsider. And it's not the abilities of people that I question, it's their character. I see some people that are incredible fighters and they're just very, very difficult to be around. So become that person. We were talking about that this morning. We learned this from one of our mentors, that the quality of your life is the quality of your emotions. What's wrong is always available. But so is what's right. So you choose to focus on what's right. We did it. We saw it through COVID, the powerful mindset shift when we said, okay, well, the world's on fire, but what is still right? What is still within my control? We come up with these conclusions sometimes based on the emotions that we have, and then we make decisions that are erratic. So when you are able to work, it's a muscle. Right? It's not something that happens overnight. It's not a meditation that you did. It's a muscle. You practice it every single day. And when you do need it, you have the strength. You have the mental fortitude to say, okay, well, there are challenges. I expected them. Right. I didn't sit here thinking, oh my God, now there's a challenge. What do we do? How do you grow? You grow through challenge. It's like when you're exercising, right? You have to. So I think that understanding that it isn't about the business at all, that there are some people that have all the right systems, but their heart and their character and the emotions what's your home emotion? You're constantly overwhelmed, constantly stressed out, constantly say, this is not going to work. Oh, I can't catch a break. There's power in the words we choose to tell ourselves, and your brain is not going to tell the difference. So when you start telling yourself, I'm strong, I'm able, I'm capable, I don't know how to do this, so I'm going to find somebody who can help me, and I'm going to feel the gratitude. Our first core value at Zentai is gratitude. We get to do this. We have asked the team to start there before you begin your shift. Say, I get to change someone's life. How do I find gratitude in this moment? And then everything changes in the way that you can work from there, from that place of gratitude.
I think just to add on to that, it's not only about, I don't get to succeed in spite of the challenges, but we're successful because of the challenges that we have. Yeah. So it's give you like a video game analogy. I don't play video games now, but I did as a kid. But you start going to go to the next level. There's always like that big boss, right? Where you get that challenge. Yeah. I'm not running around the board trying to avoid going to the big boss of that level. No, I know I'm excited when I get there. You're nervous, right? When you hit there and it's like, I don't know, I think of Mario Brothers and you got like Kruger, what's his name? Like, it's like, oh my God, he's so big, right? I'm not going the other way. I know I need to go forward, and I'm excited when I reach it. It's like, okay, I reached the biggest challenge, because I know when I break through that challenge, I'm going to go to the next level, right? Mm-hmm. So we need to do the same thing in life. We can't say, oh my God, now I have this big, oh, how terrible, I have this challenge. No, great, because I knew these challenges were going to come. You know, Jennifer and Tommy told me that these challenges were going to come. So here it is. Here's the opportunity for me to beat the big boss and go to the next level. And guess what? At that next level, there's going to be a bigger boss. And I'm going to be excited when I reach that bigger boss, right? It's like, I finally made it to that bigger boss where I can break through. So when we were going through things like what happened in 2020 and stuff like that, I got excited. I was like, this is an opportunity that is either going to make us or break us. And like we saw, unfortunately, a lot of schools didn't make it, right? Yeah. And some of the schools called it quits as soon as they saw the big boss. Yeah. It's like, oh, big monster, I'm out. Right? Mm-hmm. I was like, okay, you know what? This is the opportunity for us to break through to a new level. And we did. In 2020, we made more gross than we did all prior years. 2021, we did even bigger. 2020, we opened up a new school. Like in January 2021, we opened up another school, right? Mm-hmm. So we were winning during that time because we went and took on the big boss and said, we're going to come up on the other side. And that's how we leveled up. So when we see those challenges, every time something's happening, whether it's our school flooding, whether it's an instructor stealing thousands of dollars from us, whether it's, people bullying or whatever, we see that always as an opportunity. So we see that challenge and go, oh, great. Here's an opportunity for us to shine, to us to do what we do, come out on top. And this is going to help us level up.
That's right. And that just to add to that, it's not that one day is good and another day is bad. We actually closed on this property on the same day that we were dealing with a massive scandal within the school. Yeah. And that has been in the martial arts industry, you know what those things look like and all the fires you have to put out. So, I sat there thinking, this is the bad chapter and this is the good. It just is part of life. Right. It's part of life, and I'm going to embrace both because I'm able to find the gratitude on the fact that we closed on this place and also find the gratitude in the fact that that person is no longer a part of my organization because they had to go. Right. They're not with us on the next level.
Literally one moment, like opening champagne and signing, and then driving over to the next meeting where we're like dealing with this whole thing and and it's okay. It's okay. That's part of the game, is part of the fun. That's okay. Expect that. Be okay with it. In fact, don't just be okay with it. Be excited about those challenges. If you start changing that vocabulary and say, I'm excited about this challenge, this is an opportunity for me to show my leadership, to show what I have learned, to do this, great. Then that's where you're going to win.
Yeah. I love it.
That you were able to do it. You could breeze through it because now you've been there. Yeah. You've done it before. Yeah.
Right. Love that mindset. Love that philosophy. Listen, tell everybody, what you guys are doing moving forward. Like what's next for you guys? You've talked a lot about these different things, but I don't know, is there another thing on the mind map that we're adding on?
There always is. I mean, this year, a lot of big projects, again, with the Zen Den is a key focus right now, building out this retreat center. We're currently building out a beautiful like dojo space where even other schools can come and start really hosting big retreats here. That's something exciting. The project that we're doing through Heart of Zentai in the Dominican Republic is a huge project that we're working on, and continuing growing our schools. We have a lot of, baby projects of people coming up to be new head instructors and helping them grow through that. Super excited with all that. We're doing the book launch. That's all new. So we're still kind of like, that's in process, right? We're working with the illustrator. So then that's going to be released. So that's we're just going forward with all these projects.
But the biggest project is working on ourselves and continuing to grow. And I think that's one thing that we don't compromise on: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. And most importantly, when it comes to projects, we're trying to plant stuff here at the farm, and I have no idea. So you have to help me out because that's one thing I cannot grow. So I can grow at school, we can grow all of these, but I can't grow a plant. So we're working on it. That's one area I want to grow.
There you go.
We're always working on us, like so individually, but also us as a relationship. Because that's a big part of what we do.
We made 20 years of marriage.
Yeah, we just celebrated marriage, so really cool.
There you go.
Big project that you can't forget about as well.
You're halfway there.
Hopefully not. Hopefully we have more years together.
Yeah, I mean, I've been married for 42 years this year.
Wow.
Awesome.
Congrats. That's great.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, guys, we, as always, we really enjoyed having you guys on the podcast. I think our listeners have learned a lot. Dad, I'm sure you had a great time too.
Oh yeah. This has been awesome.
Awesome. Well,
bald-headed brothers always stick together.
And bald-headed bearded ones even more.
Yes,
there
even
you
better.
go.
Your beard will probably look like mine in 20 or 30 more years.
I'm looking forward to it. That's like the sign of wisdom. So I'm trying to, I'm still pretty dumb, and black, but I gotta start growing in my gray and then, be like Gandalf or something.
There you go. Well, Alan, Naomi, again, thanks so much for joining us. It was such a pleasure. And to our listeners, make sure you guys stay tuned for more Seven Figure Secrets.